Thinking about my position on whether there is hope for homelessness, I contacted a friend of mine, Dr. Michael Stoops, who is the Executive Director of the National Coalition for the Homelessness. I was doing a piece, an article about a week ago, and I wanted to get his thoughts. And so I said, Michael, am I right or am I wrong? Is there hope for homelessness today? Yes or no? Michael said yes. And so I said, Michael, why? Why is there hope? And Michael said, which I agree with, today, unlike years before, there is a majority of Americans who are aware of the immensity of the homeless problems. And that is a big difference. So I see hope because of the majority of people now being aware. Because what's happening, there is again a groundswell of public opinion that is translated into action by our politicians. And so we have government action we hadn't before. Also, we have lay support, what I would call lay support, people in the public. One is Carl House, who is with us today, who is a tireless worker for the homeless cause. And all of these people are helping push our politicians to do more. Then there's another area that has caused a lot of hope, and that's our media. And while a lot of us knock the media for this or that from time to time, they have been very important in bringing about awareness of the immensity of the problem and also about creating understanding for the problem. So those are the many areas of hope. In my particular case, I've gotten really carried into the effort to combat and hopefully end homelessness. And I think we eventually will. The difference is, my interpretation of ending homelessness is with people who are homeless because of reasons other than mental illness and addiction. And I think we have to address the problem of addiction and mental illness a little bit differently. As for me, I am so thrilled with the reception of the book that I wrote. I've been doing some speaking, and I'm going to continue to do that. As of this week, we're going to have a second edition on the book, and I also have a second book, which hopefully will be out in the autumn 1 year after the first. This book will be a little different. It is not a sequel, nor is it an autobiography, but it has a lot of important material, and I hope that it will also be successful. So hopefully you all have some questions for me. I know once I start talking, I go, but hopefully you all might have a question or two.
Well, I have a question. Well, the stimulus package, where's that money going to be spent? How? Do you know?
It's going to be spent by grants, and they're actually, and I brought for you today so that you can have it, this is some information. This describes the McKinney-Vento bill, which is the only legislation we've had to combat up to this point to combat homelessness. And I also brought with me the information on the $1.5 billion that's been allocated to fight homelessness. It really comes to 1.7. And also I brought for you a breakdown, and you can go online and find exactly where this money is going to go, what type of grants, where you can get it. If someone really wants to work on this in Palm Beach County or in the state of Florida, they can find how much money has been allocated for this particular state. And it's all here in black and white. So I'm going to be very happy to give this to you, and this will help you with your research. But the money leans a little bit more toward prevention. And this is money, for example, to there's one problem for folks who are on the verge of losing their apartment. In an emergency situation, this will provide them with that 1 month's rent to allow them the possibility of coming up with a job in the meantime, or some help, or a family to move in with, or something of that nature.
How do you feel, Bill, this is going to affect you personally? What do you feel is your own personal future now, the way things stand? Well,
I have some health issues, and that's a factor. It's been a factor since before, when I was homeless and before I wrote the book. But I'm now going on. I just had a tremendous invitation to speak before an organization called Florida Keys Outreach Coalition. It's an organization that was helpful to me in very troubled times, and it's quite an honor. They're based in the Florida Keys, and I'm going to be speaking there. Also, I'm speaking to a group, Family Promise, which is a wonderful organization in Palm Beach County, and I'm going to be speaking there in May. And then I have invitations. I'm going to be spending a week speaking in 4 different places now in the Gainesville area. So as long as these keep coming, I'm going to keep speaking. And I'm looking at one that is not firm yet, but probably will be coming forth in Los Angeles, which will be quite an adventure going out there. Also, again, we are doing the 2nd edition, and then I'm trying to put the finish on the second book. After that, who knows? Maybe I'll retire. I doubt it.
Do you still classify yourself as homeless?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. In fact, I have an email that's going out to a number of people because I have emails piled up on people insisting to know what is my situation now. And some of them I know are in the form of offers for assistance, which I don't want to accept now. In other words, financial assistance for myself. And sometimes people will want to buy a copy of the book, which is $14.95, and tack on another $5, which they want to send to me. But yes, technically now I am, because I'm traveling around the country. I'm staying where I can. I will be in Gainesville at...
I have a question.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I will be in Gainesville, and where I'm in Gainesville, I will be staying in 2 different motels for the week that I'm there. When I go to Florida Keys, I will be staying at a place called the Nice Center, which has facilities in addition to the programs that they run. Here I was a guest of the Salvation Army, very, very nice accommodations at the Center of Hope. And so there are nights when I will travel overnight and sleep on a bus, and then when I get to a place where it's affordable or whatever, then I'll stay.
We have a question from the audience. Good morning, you're on BBC.
The caller wanted to know where he's living now.
Okay, I just kind of answered that, but I'm living wherever I can. And the plan was, in the last chapter of the book, as I finished the book, the book indicates that now I finally have been able to accrue enough money to go out and find a place. Perhaps my mother has passed on, so I need not be in the Florida area, but I can go anywhere that I want and find a place maybe less expensive that I can afford within my Social Security income. But in the meantime, what happened, I finished the book, and the book was published, the book was released, then I started getting the speaking engagements. So now I just am not about to give that up and say, okay, I'm finished. I'm going to move to Iowa or Nebraska where I can afford to live. As long I'm going to carry the work with the book as far as I can go. And I don't know what point that is at this time.
Well, that's very admirable, I think, enormously admirable. And right now, I want to introduce another person,
Sure.
Carl House.
May I interrupt now? We have a question. Good morning. You're on BBC8.